Okay, welcome our next guest, Heidi Hecht, where she's going to talk about cryptocurrencies and blockchain as an interplanetary financial system.
Okay. When we centuries from now, when we start having interplanetary trade, how will we pay for things to be sent out to various colonies? If you like Star Trek at all, like me, you may have noticed that nobody has pockets or wallets, and to her it wasn't exactly carrying a purse around with her when she went shopping. So you might say in the future, who needs banks anyway? Cryptocurrencies are one way to do that. What cryptocurrencies can already do is they can provide nearly instant or at least very fast settlements. They provide a portable medium of exchange that don't rely on middlemen and don't care about international politics. They're tamper-proof, and they reward the production and deployment of resources. Cryptocurrencies can provide fast settlements. The international remittance market is already huge. $700 billion were sent to developing nations in 2016. The problem with using services like Western Union is it can take days to process and be costly for the recipient, and the inefficiencies will only get worse if we have migrant workers in space colonies. Bitcoin can solve some inefficiencies in the remittance market by crossing borders, but the problem is that Bitcoin has bad congestion problems. And the creator of Bitcoin deliberately made it inefficient by using the SHA 256 algorithm for security, mining rigs for Bitcoin are clunky, noisy, heat-generating energy hogs, so bad that environments have noticed. Some cryptocurrencies are more efficient, like Bitcoin Cash wants to go with bigger blocks for on-chain scaling. I'll probably get jumped on for mentioning Bitcoin Cash later, because some people don't like it. Grosso Coin goes with a more efficient algorithm, and of course there's the Lightning Network for off-chain transactions. That's supposed to be faster, but the strengths of these cryptocurrencies can be bootstrapped for more international and eventually interplanetary markets that are only limited by light speed, and money can be sent home in hours instead of days. Okay, so Cryptocurrencies are portable, and free of middlemen and politically neutral. How many people here use Android? Yeah, you can download Mycelium or Coinomi wallet on Google Play, like right now, with no permission from anybody. It's free. It's like having a bank in your pocket. Crypto is just that portable, this will save traders the hassle of carrying bulky physical currency and eliminates the need to wait weeks for credit cards payments to clear, for remittances to go through, it also reduces the risks of fraudulent chargebacks because you can't take it back once you've sent your cryptocurrencies. And it also saves a few steps in establishing a planetary financial system, because it's not like you have to set up an ATM or a bank branch or anything to get rolling with trade. In fact, it's been proposed that we can send a Bitcoin node with a full copy of the blockchain to Mars for future colonists to use and find if they want. Of course, it's politically neutral. You don't really have to care about debates about what a perfect society would look like. It can jump right over a stupid border wall, and it can reach regions that are politically unstable, hit by economic sanctions, lack access to PayPal, or have large parts of the population that don't have access to bank services. It can even make it possible for two colonies that don't like each other very much to trade with each other. They don't have to, but they don't even have to trust each other because they can make use of things like blockchain smart contracts to make sure everybody's holding up their end of the deal. If somebody stomps away, so much for that. The smart contracts can just reverse themselves. For blockchain, records are processed in batches called blocks. It's basically a chain of blocks, groups of transactions that are processed in the same batch. Once the Genesis block has been generated, each subsequent block has a unique timestamp, hash calculated using the hash of the previous block. So each block becomes a link in the chain that depends on the previous link. Once they're created, they can't be destroyed in any way short of the complete destruction of the infrastructure that the blockchain depends on. Attempts to exploit it will be caught early by alert observers. Anyone who wants to tamper with blockchain would have to accomplish two things. First, the easy part would be forking the blockchain, which would send up all kinds of red flags. that an expert would notice. And second, the tampering party would have to convince users that the fork is the legitimate blockchain, but by creating the longer chain. Okay, and it was designed to be decentralized, no single point of failure. It can function without a third party and doesn't care if one node's on Earth, one on Mars, one on Pluto, except for the light speed issue. Maybe it'd be possible to temporarily store data in a side chain until there's a chance to sync up with other nodes. And it can be used to store and encrypt most types of data in a way that makes it easy to establish what happened. It can store the Bitcoin transactions. It can store emails. It can store basically anything that involves transfers of data, assets, or tokens in some way. Blockchain can handle that. Cryptocurrencies reward the production and deployment of resources. Most cryptocurrency networks rely on computing power in a proof-of-work algorithm, but that gives token rewards for providing processing power to the network. But like I mentioned, mining rigs are clunky, noisy energy hogs. What Colony is going to invest in is what they view as a waste, even if they get rewarded. Proof of stake works like a savings account. You get rewarded for basically holding cryptocurrencies. It presumes that a colony is not only viable, but produces surplus resources that can hold, sell to earn cryptocurrencies for a stake. And some cryptocurrencies like Solar Coin may reward the production of resources. Solar Coin, for instance, rewards production of solar power. It assumes that a colony that proves that its producing power is still operational. And, well, that's it. Any questions? Yes.
So you mentioned that you could solve the time difference issue by possibly having a side chain that then gets things up. Have any tests been performed on Earth about having like a side chain and whether you can easily sync up with them in the future?
Well, what I know is it's mostly theoretical. There's a way to have two-way side chains that can exchange data with the main chain both ways. I don't know if there's anybody's actually done that. Thanks. Yes.
Since you're the author of blockchain space,
Yes.
is there a book?
Yes. I brought a few if anybody wants one.
Okay, another question. You keep hearing in the newspapers, online, about disappearing bitcoins. Millions of bitcoins disappearing. And so that leads me to wonder, is anyone dealing with the issue of fraud?
I believe there's some exchanges that are trying to set up an organization. and combats crimes like fraud. But I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. Yes.
How would you handle the blockchain between Earth and Mars? Like, keeping it in sync?
What I would do is have the nodes just periodically send data to each other when it's possible to get lined up between Earth and Mars. Yeah.
Are you familiar with DTN?
DTN?
Like the Interplanetary Internet Protocol?
Not very.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, would it make sense to have local blockchains on each, world, like on Mars and on the space station, the asteroid belt, whatever, and then have a separate blockchain to allow the transfer of funds between these locations?
That would make sense. That was kind of what I meant by side chains. They'd kind of be localized chains that can transfer data back and forth between the different side chains and the main chain. Yeah.
I see. And
Yeah.
then maintain a global ledger periodically.
Right. Any other questions? Yes.
Are you familiar with Mars Coin?
Yes, I did see Mr. Lopin's talk a few years ago. Yes.
Yeah, he wanted to be here. He might come next year. So.
Good. I'll look forward to seeing him if he does come.
Yeah, he's working on Mars Coin still. He needs to update. It's basically a fork of Litecoin, which in turn is a fork of Bitcoin.
Right.
And he's trying to keep it up to date with all the Litecoin changes, but yeah, he's still working on it.
Okay. Good. Okay, I guess I'll turn it over to the next person, if there aren't any other questions. Thank you.